What will the Seahawks get out of their special teams unit in 2025? All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy Monday. Hope you guys are doing well today. And we are right near the end of this little series, and we are approaching the start of Seahawks training camp, at least in some capacity by some definition. So we've got one more unit we want to look at in this video, and we're going to be doing the whole unit in one video because there's only going to be a few things to look at here, right? It's special teams, right? When you're talking about special teams, there's a lot that goes into it, but numerically, there's only a few things to really look at. Of course, there will be other considerations when evaluating this special teams unit, but for this video, we're going to be doing the kicker, the punter, the kick returner, and the punt returner. The rest, I think that's a little bit more abstract, and I don't want to get into that. So we're not going to be thinking about that too much. What we're going to be looking at are really those four things. And I guess you could maybe make an argument for including a fifth for like your special teams ace, the guy who's going to lead the team in tackles on special teams, I mean. But I don't know who that's going to be. I don't have any inclination on who that's going to be. All right, let's just go ahead and get into it. Please click the thumbs up button on this video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support the channel. We are possibly, depending on what happens at the VMAC over the next week, one day away from new information. We'll see about that, but at the very least, we know that tomorrow is going to be the day where the rookies report, and we'll probably be able to talk about that at least some. But like I said, got to get through this series first. So let's get started here with Jason Myers, the place kicker. And yes, this is an odd year. We are in odd year Myers, so we may not be getting the best results. If history holds up, then it's not going to be a great season for him, and it won't be a season worth the significant money we're paying him. But we can always hope that this year is the year things are different. We know he's a very talented kicker. We know he's capable of being very good. Just needs to happen. In any case, I can't really make predictions based off of the even year, odd year thing, although it is spooky how much it's held up over the last decade almost. That being the case, I mean, at that point, what am I except just a superstitious football fan? I don't want to get into that stuff too much, so I'm going to evaluate him on merit. We're going to start with the short field goals, 20 to 29-yard field goals, the chip shots. You don't see a ton of these. A lot of teams go for it when they're in range for a short field goal, but there will be some. He'll go 5 for 5 on these, I think. Easy money. No concerns here. And on the short-ish field goals, I say 10 for 10, 30 to 39. So again, you don't see a ton of these, but you do see more of them. And I have a feeling the Seahawks are not going to have a ton of trust in their offense, so they're not going to be looking to go for it all the time. I think that they are going to be erring on the side of kicking field goals this year until the offense shows that they're trustworthy. And then we start to expand out a little bit to the more intermediate areas of the field. I say 9 out of 10 on 40 to 49-yard field goals for Myers. I think that would be pretty workable. I think that would be a good, respectable season. And it's certainly the foundation of a good place-kicking year, right? If he can go, what would this be? 24 out of 25 from inside of 50 yards, then it's at least a pretty good year. Now, kickers do tend to make their money when you push them out past 50, and Myers has proven he has a big leg, so I'm going to say 3 for 4 on 50 to 59-yard field goals. Not anything crazy. I think that he's fully capable of a season like this where he only misses 2 field goals. He's had seasons like this before. He's had seasons where he's made basically everything. He's had seasons where he's made 60-yarders. None of this is unreasonable. He just has to put the season together where he actually does it. Then we have the overall numbers, which would be 27 of 29. Not a Pro Bowl season. It's not a lot of field goals. I have a feeling that this team is going to be more in the middle of the league in scoring, and that's going to come in the form of not a ton of touchdowns and also not a ton of field goals. It's going to be more middle of the road here. And finally, extra points. I think we're going to score 50 touchdowns on the year. I say he makes 49 extra points and misses 1. I could take that. I would certainly take that from an an odd year from Jason Myers. And if he has this season, that would be pretty effectively defeating the every other year trope with Jason Myers. So there's also the consideration of like touchbacks and stuff, but I don't have a good feel for that. I thought about putting another column here where I talked about like touchbacks on kickoffs. That's really hard to read because of the new rules, so I'm going to step away. I'm going to stay away from that for the time being. And that's Jason Myers. It's a good season. He's a good player. If he comes through, then maybe he gets extended in the offseason. I don't know. Michael Dixon, the recently extended punter. We extended him a couple of weeks ago. One of the best punters in the game, one of the best to do it, on potentially a Hall of Fame track. Can he have another really good season? Can he maybe make an all-pro team? Can he get recognition, which is something that's mostly evaded him so far in his career? We know how good he is. I don't know if the rest of the league does. Went with 67 punts, which is roughly in line with last year. I think the offense in terms of overall effectiveness will be on a similar plane to last year. Kubiak is a big upgrade, but some of our personnel got downgraded. I don't think the offensive line has stepped forward significantly yet. It can maybe get there. I'm not going to sit here and act like there are going to be big upgrades to an offensive line because of the addition of a rookie and hoping that historically injury-prone players can stay healthy. So I'm going to say there's a healthy number of punts, not a ton. His leg isn't going to fall off, but 67. 67, pretty good start. Then we have yards per punt. I went with 49.8 yards per punt. That's in line with what he's done for much of his career. I imagine that the more you punt, the more tired you get. So the fact that he's not going to be the punter backing up a really good offense is going to be a little bit of a diminishing factor here, but it'll still be very good. Net yards per punt, I went with 44.7. I don't think it's going to be amazing because I don't trust our special teams coverage unit like I often have in the past. We did keep Harbaugh, which, okay, that's fine, but I don't know who our special teams aces are going to be. I don't have a good sense for guys who I know are going to get down there and cover on punts really well. Until I see that, I'm going to believe it's going to be a season where you have about 5 yards of return yardage per punt, which is not great, but it's certainly tolerable. And we're going with 6 touchbacks. I'm going to say he keeps the touchback count low. I'm going to say he keeps the touchback count very manageable. Doesn't have a lot of these. And I'm going to say he holds to that. So 6 touchbacks. And then I'm going to go with 29 punts inside the 20. So that'd be a really good season. And at some random point during the season, we'll say he botches 1. Let's say he botches 1 punt during the season. Maybe it gets blocked. Maybe he drops it. Maybe it's snapped over his head. Who knows? It's the cost of doing business sometimes. Stuff happens. And it's good to plan and understand that the stuff is going to happen sometimes. Okay, moving on. We have the returners. I'm going to start with Torrey Horton. Now, let me be clear. I don't have a tremendous feel for who the returners are going to be on this team. I'm going to go with Horton, and I'm going to go with McIntosh. It's a gut feeling. I could see it being a bunch of other players. If Steven Sims makes the team, it's probably him. Could be, for all I know, Ricky White, although I think he's more of a gunner or a punt blocker than he is a returner. It could be JSN. It could be, we could bring back Jalen Darden, I guess. He's still out there. It could be a lot of different guys, honestly. And by the way, I don't really think it's going to be JSN, but the point is, I don't have a great feel for who it's going to be. That's really tough to figure out. But I'm going to go with Horton. I'm going to say he's the primary kick returner. I'm going to give him 32 kick returns on the year. Going to be more than typical because of the new rules. And it's also going to be more important that he does well because of the new rules. This is almost to a game. Almost to a game. We're going to need him to do it. He's going to miss some of the offseason and be behind the 8 ball in understanding this offense. So it's important that he finds a way to contribute here. I'm going to go with 685 kick return yards. You bust 1 or 2 big ones, and the rest will take care of itself because you get a decent chunk of free yards on kick returns because you have so much free room to build up speed. So I'm going with 685. Pretty good. Little over 20 on average. And that's really all I had for him because I think that Kenny McIntosh is going to be the punt returner in Seattle. Again, it's tough to figure this stuff out, but I got to go with something. So we're going to go with Kenny McIntosh. I'm going to say 23 punt returns. I'm going to say he ends up getting almost all, if not all, of the punt returns. Remember that fair catches don't count as returns. And then I'm going to go with 387 punt return yards. Again, you bust 1 or 2 big ones, and the rest is just the little bits and pieces of yardage you can pick up here and there. And that is it. That is it for this video. That is it for the special teams. Again, if I had to hazard a guess as to who our special teams ace will be, I guess it would be DeAnthony Bell. But I can't really prognosticate very much on that except for maybe guessing how many tackles he has. And that would be just kind of throwing a dart at a dartboard. So we're going to leave it at this. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys later. Go Hawks.